Today's episode is brought to you by Microsoft Dragon Copilot. Learn about how Dragon Copilot can transform the way you work. Stick around after the episode or visit aka.ms/knock-knock-hi. That's aka.ms/knock-knock-hi.
Hey, Will.
Hey, what's up?
I've been thinking, the U.S. healthcare system, it needs some improvement.
Yeah, there's room for improvement.
Yeah,
sure.
it's a confusing, scary place for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Physicians, families, patients, everybody.
Everybody. And I've experienced it from both sides, right? I'm a physician. I've also been a patient. So I wanted to use my platform to give people practical education, really the only way that I know how, by making jokes. So Dr. Glockenflecken's really fun and super uplifting guide to American healthcare is out, and it's a free resource that includes all my videos from the 30 Days of Healthcare series, alongside deeper explanations, also reliable facts, emphasis on reliable.
Yes.
All right. Figures, numbers, insights into how each of us can fight for a more humane, better healthcare system. Also, it has jokes.
Did you mention the jokes?
I did. Jokes. Okay. Yes, definitely jokes.
Well, this guide is great for anyone looking to learn more about U.S. healthcare, but especially if you are experiencing it from the clinician side for the first time.
That's right.
Really hope you'll check it out.
Get the free guide sent straight to your inbox by signing up for our mailing list. glockenflecken.com/healthcare. Enjoy.
Knock, knock, hi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Knock Knock Hi with the Glockenfleckens. I am Dr. Glockenflecken, also known as Will Flannery, and you might notice, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, that Kristen, Lady Glockenflecken, is not here, but we have someone that looks almost just like her filling in.
It's uncanny.
Kaveh Hoda. Kaveh, thank you for joining us.
I'm not looking to replace her on the show as much
You're
as I
filling
am looking to replace her in your heart.
That's good.
I want a single white female her is what I'm trying to say to you right now. She better watch her back. I'm moving in.
So Kaveh is a friend of the pod, been on a couple times, and has his own wonderful podcast, House of Pod, which you all should listen to. And first of all, what we're going to do, I got a few things we're going to do. So first, I'm going to tell you exactly why Kristen is not on the show. Now, I intentionally did not tell you because I want to tell the story. Because there's a story behind it.
Okay, good.
And then after the break, we're going to do something that we have talked about, you and I, Kaveh, for a little while.
Yeah.
We're going to do a Sphincter Draft.
The first annual, I hope.
The first annual, because I don't know, because as we all know, humans develop new sphincters every year.
I think we could still shuffle it. I think, because I'm pretty sure what I pick this year, I'm going to regret later, and then I'm going to want to redo it. So,
do your sphincter tastes change as you age? As you get older?
Yeah, certain things become more important to you. We'll talk about that. I don't want to spoil it.
Taste may not be the right term. That's
taste is part of it, though.
All right. So first of all, why is Kristen? Do you have any guesses? Just knowing nothing.
Okay, first of all, because I've heard you guys tell me stories. You've come on my podcast and you've told me stories, and some of the stories are very nice, and some of the stories are very bad. And I'm guessing this is not a bad one, or we wouldn't be laughing about it. So
correct.
I'm going to say this is something with the kids. Because it has to be something important to take one of you away from the show. And that's what I think is the most important thing for you guys. And that's part of the reason I love you guys.
So I would say on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being your loved one has a cardiac arrest and you have to do 10 minutes of chest compressions, this would be like a 4.
Wow, that's still pretty high.
Yeah. So here's the deal. All right. So we have a few acres. Okay. And when we moved into this place, my father-in-law bought a child-sized 4-wheeler. So you can guess where the story is going.
No.
So it's not like a toy. It's like a legit
Yeah.
four-wheeler, but it's just smaller than like I would not fit on it, right?
That's legal, I guess.
Yes, it's
Okay.
absolutely. You don't have to
Should
have a
it be?
license to drive it. Yes, should it? Against my better judgment, I just so we've had this thing for like a couple of years now, and my first of all, it was mainly for my now 10-year-old. She is the daredevil of the family. As soon as she got on this thing, I was expecting her to take. This is a couple of years ago now. I was expecting her to take it slow, but she was immediately doing donuts in the
goodness.
yard. And so this is a thing it's got like grass tires, so you can drive it all over the place.
Yeah.
And things have been going great until yesterday when she had a friend over.
Oh,
and
no.
she decided to not only let the friend drive the four-wheeler, but also that she was going to ride on it as well. She was going
Oh my God.
This is not a two-seater.
God.
This is a one-seater.
Does a trampoline play into the story at some point?
No, thank God we don't have a trampoline. But and then so I'm out in the back. I'm like pressure washing some concrete, as one does.
Yeah. When you have acres.
Acres of concrete. The whole thing's concreted. So I'm pressure washing the driveway. And then Kristen runs up to me holding her hand, like holding an ice pack on her hand. And she's like, she told me, this is what she says. She says, the four-wheeler flipped. I burned my hand. I need medical attention. And so first of all, I was like, my first thought was, wow, I am so impressed that she's coming to me as an ophthalmologist. For medical
attention. She doesn't have a lot of
attention.
options.
That's true. That's true. She doesn't have a lot of, but no. So what happened was they went over this little like retaining wall we had that's like 3 feet high.
Oh my goodness.
The kid like drove it over the wall for reasons I still don't quite understand.
Yeah.
The kids are fine. The kids are they're a little bruised up, but no broken bones, no nothing. They just walked away just as kids do, right? They're like incredibly resilient. So they're fine. But the four-wheeler, when it landed kind of on top of our 10-year-old. And Kristen, she saw it happen, thank goodness.
Right.
So she ran over there, and her mom instincts,
Hulk strength kicks in. Yeah.
She just grabbed it. She grabbed the overturned four-wheeler and just yanked it off. Unfortunately, she grabbed the muffler.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Or at least something close to it. She doesn't exactly know where she grabbed it. Something that
I
was
don't know parts of a regular car, much less an ATV. I mean,
exactly, right. So so whatever it was 1,000 degrees, apparently. And so she immediately, burned her hand. She got the thing off the kid, but she had like most of her palm was burned. So she was in a lot of pain. We went to the emergency room. And she's doing okay now. She's doing okay, but she is on some pain medicine. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah.
So
can we get her on? Because I've never wanted to talk to her more than right now.
As I'm going through this, I am now thinking maybe she should have co-hosted this show.
It'd be amazing. So many questions.
So it was mainly last night. I don't think she's as doped up today, but because the pain is doing better.
Yeah.
But man, because I've burned my finger or fingertip or something. But man, her whole it was. Yeah. So she has these second degree burns, kind of linear burns where she grabbed the thing on like a good part of her palm, and so we went to the emergency room. And they were great over there. I don't know. I knew right away as soon as we walked in that they recognized me.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah,
what that experience
it's always
is like.
a little bit awkward now. Like whenever I have to go to a medical facility for as a patient or a family member of a patient, because I know that's kind of the case.
Yeah.
And I knew for sure when we were sitting in the room, because they got us to a room right away, because Kristen she was just writhing in pain.
Yeah.
So they got us in right away into a room, and it wasn't too busy, fortunately. And then we saw occasionally we would see people like peeking in through the window.
Oh my God, you could just feel the energy in there. Because one of your most famous characters is the ER. He's like the
Correct.
most recognizable, he wears like the helmet and the
Very
whole ER thing.
distinctive.
Yeah. So your characters are all relatively complementary. And as doctors and specialties, I think we're all like a little bit like stoked if you do like our specialty. So do you feel like are ER doctors like particularly attentive? Are they particularly nice? Do they talk about it? Are they trying to be cool and not like bother you?
So no one mentioned it. No one mentioned anything. We got looks, right? I got some double takes, but no one mentioned anything about Glockenflecken until we were just about to leave, and the MD walks in. This is like the third time she'd been in the room, and she said, people out there recognize you. And I was like, yeah, kind of figured.
Yeah.
And then we just had a wonderful conversation. It was great because, well, first of all, her pain level she had some Dilaudid on board. So she was feeling much better. And so the tension of the situation was kind of, coming down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we talked about the characters, and it's my experience is that the emergency crowd, they love my depiction of their specialty.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is there any specialty that hasn't?
And
I'm sure everyone has like one or two characters that aren't into it, but in general, which is the least receptive?
Historically, it's been family medicine. And I've talked about this a little bit, and I think it's because they're so they feel like they're already kind of taken advantage of in the healthcare system, which, I mean, for good reason, right? They feel very undervalued, and so I think anybody poking fun at them is going to feel a little bit more difficult, as opposed to like a surgeon, which their egos are so big and massive, like nothing is going to, you can't knock them off their orbit. Like it's
and they're being compensated largely better than the family practice doctors are. So there's a part of that that's just like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that being said, it's like a few family medicine folks.
Right.
The vast majority are like, yeah, we get it. Like we totally get it. We appreciate, the depiction and everything. I was a little bit disappointed. I did not see a single bicycle helmet.
While you know what? There. It's pretty. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed that nobody ran out and got one to come into your. That's absolutely what I would have done. Once everything was like okay, and I knew she was like cool, I would have like come for discharge wearing like the bicycle helmet. I think that would have been absolutely brilliant.
I do appreciate that they waited until things were calmer before like getting into the.
I can imagine Kristen would be like, "What the hell is going on? I need help
I don't care."
How's she doing now? Is she okay?
She's doing great. She's in bed, probably napping at this point, but she's got a nice big dressing around her hand, and she got what's the Xeroform?
Yeah.
Remember the Xeroform stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, they put that on her. So we got to take, I'm in charge of dressing changes, which I haven't done a dressing change on a hand in quite a while. So
and is that all that needs to be done? Or is she going to see like, I don't know, plastics or something like that?
No, I don't think it's going to be that bad. So it's like 2nd-degree burns that should heal up just fine. Wasn't circumferential. I guess that's an important thing because you can develop like scar tissue around the whole hand. So just the palm should heal up okay, but she's just going to be uncomfortable. But would be a fantastic podcast guest for the next few days.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be amazing. I have another question for you.
Yeah.
How was the conversation with the parents of the other kid?
So the parent was actually there as well. Good question. That was actually, as soon as I found out that my kid was okay, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What is the kid's fine, and actually was even less bruised up than my own child, which is good. So everybody's fine. Everybody's okay.
Perfect. Yeah. If one of the kids has to take a little bit more of the rough treatment, you want it to be your kid in that situation.
But I'll tell you, like, we're gonna change some rules around the house.
Oh yeah, around the acres. By the way, I'm still stuck on acres. I live in San Francisco. You're looking at my guest bedroom / music studio / podcast space. and you have acres.
Okay, I will say your cost of living is a bit higher where you are. Like, but you'll get acres of concrete at some point too. I'm sure.
I hope so. Just acres and
cheaper.
acres of concrete and steel.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with our sphincter draft.
So, Will.
Yeah.
You're always teaching me things about Demodex mites, your little friends there. But let's switch things up a bit.
Okay.
How about I ask you a couple questions to see how much you really know?
Go for it.
Okay. Let's do it. What are the only 2 main species of Demodex mites found in humans?
Oh, type 1 and type 2?
Gotcha on that one. Demodex folliculorum, which are found in the eyelash follicles, and Demodex brevis, which are found in the meibomian glands.
Impressive. All right, next question.
Why do people with Demodex blepharitis often feel itchy eyelids first thing in the morning?
I know this because I use it to gross you out. Demodex mites avoid light and they come out mostly at night to mate and move between your eyelash follicles. So many people will wake up with that itchy, irritated feeling along their eyelids.
So gross.
I'm surprised you even brought that up.
I know. I'm just trying to get used to these mites since Demodex blepharitis is such a common disease and we keep talking about it.
Well, that's a big step. And we know there's a prescription eye drop available to treat Demodex blepharitis. To learn more about these mites and Demodex blepharitis, visit miteslovelids.com for more information. Again, that's miteslovelids.com to learn more. This ad is brought to you by Tarsus Pharmaceuticals. Hey, Kristen, those sheets you told me to put on the bed last night?
Yeah, my new Cozy Earth bamboo sheets.
Yeah, you didn't tell me they were the most comfortable sheets on earth.
That's why I was having you put them on. They're my new favorite summer sheets.
I love them because I'm always hot when I sleep because you like to sleep with 1,000 blankets.
It's true.
But I was totally fine.
Yeah, they're temperature regulating.
They kept me cool.
They're magic.
I slept like a baby. I want more and I will only sleep with Cozy Earth sheets.
Okay, noted.
All right, you promise?
I have no problem with that.
Upgrade your summer. Go to CozyEarth.com and use code KNOCK for 40% off.
Good discount.
Best-selling, temperature-regulating sheets, apparel, and more. Trust me, you'll feel the difference the very first night. Sleep cooler, lounge lighter, stay cozy. All right, we are back with Kaveh Hoda as the fill-in for Lady Glockenflecken today. And by the way, she was very receptive to you not sitting in her seat, but taking the mic for this episode.
I wouldn't mind if you called me Lady Glockenflecken for the remainder of this podcast.
If I do, it's, you can understand. You're not dissimilar. Like it's,
It's like, it's sort of like looking in a mirror sometimes when her and I are just talking. There's a lot. I want you to think of that next time you guys are intimate. That's what I want.
It helps that you don't have a beard, I guess, but that's about it.
Yes, right.
That's
and
about where the comparison
of the two of us. For this Sphincter Draft, are we going to have like theme music? Are we going to have like an ESPN? Da-na-na, da-na-na. Like we need to have. Can we get that in post?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, producers will handle it.
Okay, perfect.
I have no idea if that's possible, but we'll see what we can do.
Okay, cool.
I think it's a great idea though, because this is really important. And the first time I think a sphincter draft has ever happened. So let me set it up.
Okay.
Like what exactly we're doing. First of all, this is ridiculous what's about to happen, but I think it's important for people to understand kind of the hierarchy of sphincters and what kind of sphincters there are in our bodies, because we have more sphincters, I think, than people realize.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to take turns. And you're going to go first because you're our illustrious guest host
gracious.
Here.
Yeah.
And we're going to take turns picking sphincters. And our goal is to put together a team of sphincters that would provide you with the best possible quality of life. Okay?
We're putting together a team. Okay.
Yeah. And whatever sphincters you don't get, like you have to live without those sphincters, right? Yeah. So whatever sphincters you choose, that is what you're living with. That is what your life is like.
Okay, this is going to be a tough one. Now, to put it in context, there are over 60 sphincters in the human body.
What?
There's a lot. I looked it up before we did this.
I thought there were like 12.
There was apparently more.
I don't know what you got your information, but if it was better than Wikipedia,
it probably isn't. Probably from Wikipedia. Wikipedia was probably the source material. But just so for our listeners, your listeners, not mine, these are circular muscles. They normally maintain the construction of a passage. So for normal physiologic functioning of a lot of your organs, you do need something that can open and close, and that can be involuntary, which means you're not controlling it. It can be voluntary, which means it's like skeletal muscle that you are controlling, or it could just be responsive to a certain type of stimulus. Now, I'm assuming for the purposes of this, we are sticking solely to human sphincters, because if we weren't, right at the top of my list would be the blowhole of a sperm whale. That would be my number one sphincter, but we're keeping this human, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm a GI dog.
But also, I thank you, by the way, for explaining sphincter. You did that better than I actually could. I have a question.
Yeah.
Just before we get started.
Yeah, please.
Does every organ have a sphincter? It's only like organs that produce things.
I don't think every organ has.
It's not
a
every
sphincter.
organ. Like the brain has no sphincter.
I mean, there might be there's valves like in the blood vessels, but there's not like a sphincter. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
you work closer to the brain than I do.
That's true. Okay. So anyway, let's get started. You go first.
So I'm a GI doctor.
The first pick in the 2025 Sphincter Draft, Kaveh Hoda selects.
This was a really tough call for me. It has to be one of the anal sphincters, the internal or the external. These are part of the pelvic floor muscles, the sphincters that help control your anal canal and help you not only evacuate when you need to evacuate, but keep things closed when you don't need things closed. I'm probably going to say the internal anal sphincter will be my number one, because we're talking about in terms of like keeping your dignity, in terms of keeping like your comfort, being able to live a little more freely. This smooth muscle nestled within the walls of the anal canal is always there working for you. You don't have to think about it. It's closed when it needs to be closed, when it's working correctly, and it opens when you need it to open and you need to do your thing. You don't have to consciously decide when to relax it. It responds, and it's there for you, working there to make sure you aren't having unwanted leakage or accidents. So I think in terms of overall like dignity of the patient, of us, I'm going to pick internal sphincter. It was a tough one, but I'm going internal sphincter is my number one.
So good choice. People probably assume that I would, because there isn't an eyeball related sphincter, but no, I am putting my pride aside and actually looking at all the different sphincters in the body. The eyeball related one is actually quite low on the list. I also was trying to decide for my first pick whether I would choose external or internal anal sphincter.
Right? It's a big one.
I chose, actually, I was going to go with external anal sphincter as my number one.
Yeah. Tell me your reasoning, because this was close. I almost went this way.
So the reason is because, first of all, I want to control whether or not I poop my pants. Like bottom line, right? I feel like quality of life, that's huge.
Yeah.
And with the external sphincter, that's it's skeletal muscle, right? You can control it. And I feel like you could like work it out if you need to.
Yeah, like Kegels. You can improve these things with training and strengthening pelvic floor exercises. It can.
Yeah, you could like go to the gym, but for strengthening your external anal sphincter. And so that's why I went number one, because I feel like, I don't know, and I have no idea the power of the sphincter, like which one is more, is like which muscle is stronger, but like, I don't know if all I have is an external anal sphincter, what would happen?
Well, that's the problem, is you have to voluntarily control that. So that's the only reason I didn't pick it, because it's more of a backup control, really. If your internal one isn't working, then you have to constantly be like working on it, you can tell what I'm doing. I don't know if your listeners can tell, but people watching can tell just from looking at my face that I'm tightening up my sphincters.
Gotcha.
And I think that's exhausting over time. You probably could exercise it to the point, just like you're saying, train it to the point where maybe it's like constantly closed. But I don't know, you're going to sleep at some point. You might have a little bit of like, you might pass some gas at night, and you want to be able to control it without having to think too much about it. It's a close call.
It's like thinking about breathing, right? So the internal anal sphincter, it's always there,
doing it for you. Yeah.
Until it encounters something it needs to evacuate, and then it relaxes.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
But listen, I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable because just like you said, there are things you can do to improve your external anal sphincter. It's hard to work your internal anal sphincter.
No, I can't do it.
Yeah, you can't. So, you can improve your life with some steps. Kegels,
I think I could have one of the strongest. I don't know if there's a Guinness Book of World Records for like the amount of the length of time contracting your external anal sphincter, but I feel like I could approach it.
You're famously known for that.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
I think if anyone could pull it off, it would be you.
I've been contracting it the whole time we've been talking, and
it's amazing.
I'm not even thinking about it. It's just I can
funny
just
you say
do
that.
it.
Now that we're talking about it, I do like. I'm kind of wriggling in my seat because I feel like I need to clench it more, and I'm like,
right?
It's like when you start to think about walking, it becomes really uncomfortable, and you're like, wow, this walking is so weird. What do I do? It's kind of like that. If we think, I'm going to stop talking about my sphincter now because I want to stop thinking about it.
Let's go to number 3, third pick. What do you got?
Okay, so again, I'm GI, which is I'm assuming why you want to do this because you know that we are the king of sphincters. I'm going to say the lower esophageal sphincter is next on my draft. Now, this is the muscle that separates your esophagus from your stomach. So it stays closed, so you don't have stuff from your stomach. Again, this is all in the context of sphincters working the way they should. Right. People who have bad reflux and other issues, this may not be the case. But if your sphincter is working the way it should, it keeps stuff from your stomach from getting up into your esophagus, giving you heartburn or reflux, from regurgitating, rumination syndrome, all this stuff. You don't want it open when you don't need it, but you need it to open when you do want it, so you can swallow and things don't get stuck in your esophagus. So it's a pretty big one. It allows you to eat. It allows you to keep things from coming back up and aspirating and killing you. Probably for your health overall, it's probably more important, I would think, to have a functioning sphincter, because it helps decrease the risk of aspirating something into your lungs. Although you could argue that if you're pooping yourself, you're creating infectious risk for infection. But I think so. I'm going to go with a lower esophageal sphincter as my number 2. All
right, that's a good one.
Number 2 would be, but
that's a good one. That's a good one. I was thinking, with the lower esophageal sphincter. So if you don't have that sphincter, then things would just pass like up and down. Easily, right?
Right. It would be gravity dependent, and if you lay down, you would have a problem.
But what if you just took a bunch of what if you just inhibited all your acid and
So, okay, this is a great point, and this is why it's not number 1, because as you're mentioning, there are a lot of things that you can do to fix this if you don't have one. So
I just would never eat spaghetti with meat sauce.
Yeah, but what kind of life is that?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but but you are right. Here's the thing. When we treat reflux, most of what we're doing is indirect treatment of it. Yeah. We're treating the acid in your stomach, not the problem. The problem is that muscle is weak and it's allowing things to come up. But if you decrease the acid, you tend to have less of that issue. It tends to hurt less, but it doesn't make it go away. There are things that we can do. You can get surgery, there's surgeries, and those surgeries have improved over time. They become less invasive. There's even, a lot of work around minimally invasive things like little bands, like the Link system, which is like a little string with beads on it. It's not as popular right now, but there are things along that lines that are that are coming down the pipeline. So there are more options for it, but all the treatment we have for reflux, it's really indirect. It's that muscle that's weak, and it's the muscle's not closing the way it should. And there are things you can do, but largely they're surgical if you really, really want to treat them.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Okay. All right. I kept with the externals. So I went with external urethral sphincter for my next pick.
Yeah.
My top two were external anal, internal anal, and then I went external urethral.
Yeah.
Just because like quality of life, I don't want to be we make so much urine. I feel like that would affect my quality of life quite a bit. But I could always just wear diapers, right? I mean, I feel like it's manageable. Like there's it's enough of a problem.
You could have a leg bag with like a cath or something.
Exactly, right? You could always, I think you can manage that and still like be able to function, pretty normally in society. Because a lot of people have this problem, and so I feel like we've got a lot of solutions to help with that. But I would still like to have that sphincter.
You're not going with the eye, though, huh?
Not yet. I'll tell you why once we get there. I'll tell you why once we get there.
Well, the urethral sphincter was actually my next one.
Yeah.
So that one you got. There's nothing I can do about that.
What do you got?
The next one I have is the. This is a tough one because it's kind of a valve. I don't know if you'll accept it. The ileocecal valve.
Mm-hmm. I accept that.
Okay.
Yep, that was on my list.
So that separates the ileum, the end of your small bowel, from your colon. And it helps regulate your GI system, helps regulate the flow of things through your gut. Lots of people live without it surgically. Sometimes it has to be removed for one reason or another. Sometimes there's really bad scarring from inflammatory bowel disease, or there's some issue there. So there are people who do not have it, and they can live normal lives, but it is still nice to have. It still keeps things sort of like regular, helps you have a good normal peristalsis, and helps your bowel movement. So we're getting down the list now, but that's slightly below urethral sphincter to me.
So if you don't have the ileocecal valve, what are your bowel movements like?
They can be a little bit looser. Things are moving through a little bit faster. But people will oftentimes get used to that. In fact, sometimes when people lose their part of their colon, at first it's hard. A lot of water is absorbed there, and you get watery stools. But over time, it's almost like the small bowel adjusts a little bit, and it helps do a little bit of the work with the colon. So you
Picks
can
up the slack a bit. Okay.
Yeah, and you also can change your diet a little bit, and people do that over time, and things get better. So it is manageable. But if you can maintain the ileocecal valve, that's always best. If a surgeon does not have to do a surgery that removes that part of the colon, they always want to, because it helps patients, and it also complicates the surgery a little bit too.
I feel like losing that valve would be a little bit rough for gastroenterologists, because you get so much pride in reaching that valve on your colonoscopies.
Yeah, we really do. I mean,
it would take a little bit of the luster away from
every time
skills.
I get in, what I say 2-point conversion. Every time I do that. I'm like,
I'm sure the staff in there love it every single time.
Every time. So weird. They always laugh. So
it's amazing.
So weird.
It's almost like they don't want to piss you off.
My staff doesn't actually try to kiss my ass in any way.
Good. All right. I got my next one.
Yeah.
I'm stepping on in your wheelhouse.
I know what
here.
you're gonna say. God damn it.
I'm gonna go with the sphincter vodi.
Damn it. I knew that's what you were gonna do.
Yeah. Now, and I'm choosing this not because I really fully understand what it does.
Nobody does.
But it does seem bad to constantly having pancreatic enzymes and bile just pouring into your small intestine.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so for your
tell us about the sphincter.
So it is a bit complicated, but you have this biliary system. If you think about your gallbladder, it sits nestled up peacefully underneath your liver, and connecting your liver, your gallbladder.
You make the GI tract seem so elegant.
It is beautiful, really, in its own way. If you want to connect your small intestine, your gallbladder, your liver, and the pancreas, and they're all connected through a little intricate series of tubes and ducts, and those empty out into the small intestine. And in response to eating, there's these things are releasing enzymes and bile into your GI system to help you digest your food. Now, the sphincter of Oddi is a relatively poorly, in my opinion, I'm sure there's some ERCP interventionalists who will write in talking about, how they do understand it very well. But I think it's a relatively poorly understood sphincter
it's
there.
a thriving part of my listenership. the ERCP.
You don't need that kind of toxicity in your life. You gotta shake that.
Anyway, go ahead.
And sometimes if this sphincter doesn't work right, we think it can cause some problems called sphincter of Oddi dysfunction. And that can cause people to have it's a really confusing thing because it can cause a lot of pain. And sometimes there's different variations of it. There is a sphincter of Oddi dysfunction where there's no lab abnormalities. We've ruled out everything, but the story seems suggestive of sphincter of Oddi dysfunction, and we think that might be it. And then sometimes it can cause some lab abnormalities, and it becomes very tricky. A big part of the problem is we don't have great treatments for this. As of now, one of the few things that we can do is to do what's called an ERCP, endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. It's a big fancy, it's nice, right? Yeah,
That's
practice
great.
that. And you go in with a scope into the mouth, into the esophagus, into the stomach, into the small intestine, and you try to get in there and you make a little cut in the sphincter. And that we hope will help. Sometimes it does, but the problem is it's also very likely to cause pancreatitis, and it can be severe.
Yikes.
So it's a bad news situation. That's why I did not pick it, because I find it to be problematic. I don't enjoy that, because when patients have it, we don't, as of now, have great treatments for it.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
there's even some people who aren't even sure it exists completely, forms of it. Like if we don't have some proof, it's hard to know. And there are some people who say you could do manometry. You could put a balloon into the duct and measure the manometry and how hard it's squeezing. But I don't know how great that test is. It's not fantastic. And that can also cause problems. So that's why it's not high on my list. But I do love the name Sphincter of Oddi.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some Dr. Oddi or something that came up with that.
Yeah, with Garfield, with Dr. Garfield. And they did great work in the 80s on lasagna.
And but I think that the running the risk of that abdominal pain, that there's no so I feel very justified in my selection.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that sphincter that we don't understand completely. So what do you got?
Well, turnabout is fair play. You take something I love. I take something that you love.
I was afraid you were going to do this.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. You made me. You made me do this.
Okay.
I'm going to take the what I assume is the major sphincter muscle in the eye, the sphincter pupillae, which I hope I'm saying right, located in the iris.
Yes.
Am I also right about that?
Yes.
It controls the size of the pupil by constricting it in response to bright light or parasympathetic function. So
correct.
And it helps regulate the light that comes in. So I feel like what you're going to tell me is that you can live without it. You can wear big sunglasses, or you could probably get by without it. But it does seem like annoying, a real nuisance to have to do that.
It would be, and that was going to be my next pick if you didn't go there. But it's the only sphincter in the eye, so it's like our pride and joy as far as sphincters go.
Only one sphincter.
That's it. We got
lame.
And the iris is one of those things that you don't really appreciate it until it's not working correctly.
Yes.
And the majority of my time I do a ton of cataract surgery, right, as a lot of ophthalmologists do. And one of the lessons from my mentor in residency was, whatever you do not mess with the iris. Because if you have damage to the iris, because you can damage it during cataract surgery, if you damage the iris, it can cause lots of problems. If you have transillumination of the iris, basically you lose the pigment behind the iris. You get these transillumination defects, because the point of the iris is to modulate the amount of light that comes into the eye.
Yeah, like a camera lens.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
Exactly. So if you have too much light coming in the eye, then you're going to have glare issues. You're going to have incredible light sensitivity. If you have too little light coming into the eye, then obviously you're not going to see that well in dim lighting conditions, because you won't be able to open the pupil as well. That's not as much of a problem as too much light coming in. because there's a lot more diseases that can cause that kind of problem. So if you don't have your pupil sphincter muscle, which is what, yeah, you're right, it constricts the pupil down, then you're going to have way too much light coming into the eye. You're going to want to live in a very northern climate, because you want overcast, like honestly Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington would be a great place for you, because you just places where you don't get a lot of sunshine. Because if you're in the middle of summer, bright light, your will not be able to constrict your pupil. You're pretty much going to be, your pupil will be able to dilate, because you still have a dilator muscle that opens the pupil, but you won't be able to constrict it down. And so you're going to be, it's going to be tough in bright light. So dark sunglasses like a radiologist.
So if it does dilate, then will it just stay dilated forever, or will it eventually tire out and come back down?
Yeah, because because you don't have you'll have unopposed dilation. You won't have the constrictor muscle. So yeah, I think you'll probably, I have no idea because I've never seen a patient that didn't have any of that constrictor muscle. Actually, patients have aniridia, just don't have an iris, but that's a slightly different thing. So yeah, I think you will have, you'll be fairly dilated, like a good 5-6 millimeters, which is a pretty large pupil.
Have you ever heard this theory about why pirates actually might have had eye patches?
I'm about to hear it.
Yeah. So this is an actual theory.
Wait, hold on. Let's tease this. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll hear it. We'll hear your.
You're good.
Hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
Why did we not get life insurance sooner?
I don't know, but it's a decision I regret.
What was I like? Did I think I was going to live forever?
Apparently, I think we just didn't really know about it.
Didn't think about it. It's never too early to get life insurance.
That is true.
That's something I've learned. And let me tell you about Pearson Rabbits.
Tell me.
Because this is great for physicians. This is a physician-focused, physician-founded company by Dr. Stephanie Pearson, former OBGYN, and Scott Rabbits, an insurance expert. They understand the unique needs and offer support built specifically for physicians.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It really is. They have years of experience serving physicians, and they help guide you through the process of ensuring your family's future is safe and secure. That's so important. To find out more, go to www.pearsonravitz.com/knock-knock. Again, that's PearsonRavitz.com/knock-knock to get more information on life insurance for physicians that you can trust. All right, back with Kaveh Hoda as my co-host here. So Kaveh, tell us about the pirate theory. Why do pirates wear patches?
Okay, so I think this is fascinating. So, a lot of times our impression of pirates, it's hard to know what's real and what's from movies. And the eye patch is one of those things. It's like you assume it's because they've been in so many fights that they've like lost an eye or something. But there's another theory, and that is that a lot of these sailors had to work between being on the top in like the light on the deck where they're out in the sun, and then going down into like the bowels of the ship where it's dark. There's not a lot of light at all. They didn't have electricity. And so they would just flip to the other eye. So they could just use the other eye that was already in the dark and it was already ready for it. And they could just alternate back and forth between the two. Now, again, I think we're pulling a lot of this out of our butt, but I think it's a really interesting concept. So it's
interesting
and
totally unnecessary, because for a normal eye, you adapt very quickly. They did
a lot of things back then that don't make a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Honestly, it probably just was because it looks cool. That's.
Snake Plissken. Come on,
it
is. Although it's really hard to be a badass with a patch in real life. It's really hard to do. There was in the second one where he's like playing basketball. I don't know if you ever watched it, Escape from L.A.
I did not see L.A.
It's not great, but there is a scene where he has to shoot baskets to do it. And when they and Kurt Russell was actually a basketball player in high school and college. He's very good at the game. And I watched this behind the scenes take where he had to do this, and it took so long because it's so hard to shoot hoops with one eye. Very challenging. Anyways,
it is. Well,
that's the patch story.
Well, a lot of people also think that whenever you have only one eye that you have no depth perception, which is actually not true. You do, you suffer. You don't have as good a depth perception as you normally would with two eyes, obviously, because there's binocular depth perception, but you do have monocular clues. Like if you look with one eye, and you can tell if one object is in front of another object, right? You have one eye, so you can drive with one eye. You're like testing it, right? I don't know how much depth you can get in your tiny little recording studio there
/ guest room,
but looks like I think the wall might be just 6 inches behind you.
Touch it.
But you do have monocular clues. But yeah, that'd be very challenging to do something that has to require a lot of hand-eye coordination, like playing hoops.
Yeah.
So
all right. Yeah. Fair.
All right. So I think well, that's enough sphincter talk. I think we've built teams. So you have internal anal sphincter, the lower esophageal sphincter.
Yeah.
The ileocecal valve.
Yep.
And the iris.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good team.
Yeah. God, well, you let me go first.
I know. I have external anal, external urethral. Man, I'm just constantly doing Kegels.
A lot of work.
I'm like constantly. I can't even hold down a steady job. I'm too busy
really
just doing Kegels.
I don't know. It's a good argument to be made for it, though.
I got the sphincter of Odie, and then I have one more pick because you're
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my last pick, because I just don't know like anymore sphincters. I'm gonna just go with the pyloric valve.
Yeah. Okay. I'll accept.
Yeah, because I like the name of it. It's a pyloric. It's strong.
Yeah.
And I do.
Sounds like a war fought in the Middle Ages, the pyloric wars.
Yeah, and I feel like you'd probably get a lot of diarrhea if you didn't have it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're gonna. Yeah, it's really bad if you don't have a functioning pylorus. Yeah. No, it's a good call. Very good call.
Pylorus. If you don't have a pylorus.
I'll tell you all about the incisura next.
I like that you pulled out pupillae.
You made me do that. I didn't want to do that. You think I want to do that? I don't want to do that. You made me.
All right, so I want the listeners to, who do you think has the best will have the best life with the assortment of sphincters?
I am really curious to see what happens with these responses. Actually, I usually try not to read comments on like YouTube, but I want to. No, this one I'm willing to do. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I want to do one more thing with you. Before we wrap up, and that's we need to talk about the pit a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So I was on a recent episode with you on your podcast. We were talking about the pit. I'd only seen 3 episodes at that point. I have now seen the entire. I basically went after we recorded. I ended up binging the rest of the season. That show is amazing.
Yeah.
First of all, incredible, and my God, what a shift!
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. I mean, so it's a little bit over the top, but yeah.
Okay, so I have just a couple thoughts. One is it's like a kind of a problem I have with it is the abilities of the med student and like first day interns.
Yeah.
Like they're doing incredible things. They're doing a ton of stuff. The biggest problem I have, and I'm gonna, by the way, this is a spoiler alert, okay, for people who haven't seen it, who don't want to be spoiled, just you can stop listening for a few minutes here. The I forgot her name. The intern that told on about he's stealing the
one
medications.
Who's like half Filipino, speaks Tagalog.
Yes. So she's like a first day. This is like her first day of internship.
Yeah.
All right. If that was me, first day, I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like, how on earth does she have like the capacity to be paying attention to the speaking habits and the all the little nuances to come up with this theory that this resident is stealing medication. Like
Yeah.
I would just be, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm just
You're
surviving.
Yeah.
How like the wherewithal to be able to like do that on your first day on that shift seemed a little bit unbelievable.
There's a lot of that
I'm nitpicking,
in the show.
but you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we made very clear we both admire the show. We both like it very much. It's a great show. It should be watched. They should also hire us to not only be consultants, but to also come in as guest starring roles as bickering gastroenterologists and ophthalmologists.
Oh, Dr. Santos.
Santos, yeah.
That was the name of the intern.
But there is a lot of this where it's like remember how Michael Weber on the House of Pod was talking to us about how you have to have these plot devices to move things forward.
Right.
I mean, she's kind of there as this plot device to do two things. One, kind of be a foil because she's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like, it's kind of an interesting character in that way because she's like, she's nuanced. She has like, part of you does not like her because she gives everyone these nicknames that nobody likes and nobody wants them.
She's a bit grating.
Yeah. She hoists them on people and it's a little bit abrasive in that way. And then also because you're kind of rude, they make you really like this one resident a lot who then she comes into a lot of conflict with and she ends up being right about the drug use. And it is kind of just there to help bring that story out. Because, I think Noah Wiley really wanted to bring that doctors abusing medication, which I hope is not that common, but, we've talked about it in our show. I'm sure you probably talked about it in your show too. It can certainly happen. So I think that she was there really for that purpose. And it kind of doesn't make that much sense when you think about it, just like you said. And again, the fact that she got the one thing that was nice is when she orders the BiPAP on the patient, who shouldn't have had the BiPAP. I forget they had like the pneumothorax.
Right.
That was a nice teaching point. It also shows that they're not perfect, that like they did make some mistakes. That was nice. But yeah, there's a lot of that where you're just like, after you watch it, you're kind of like sit back and you're like, that didn't make that much sense, did it?
Yeah.
It just didn't.
I think most of the stuff did make sense. I wanted to ask though, what would a gastroenterologist abuse? Octreotide?
Oh man, that stuff's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Timolol for me. I just really.
No, we have narcotics.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I mean, we use sedation for procedures. I mean, well, it's usually like the anesthesiologist or the nurse giving it, but it's there in the room.
Are you
fiber? We're really getting to fiber. Go down a dark path. Some of that fiber.
Are you hoarding? Go lightly?
One day I'll be able to weaponize it against people. I'll find a way.
Just slip it in.
No, I did lose a bet though once with a nephrologist friend, and I did have to drink Colite, and that's it's not fun. I know what it's like for my patients. I mean, that's the hardest part of our procedure. I think we talked about this before. Is the prep you have to do for a colonoscopy. It is brutal. It does not taste good. My recommendation for your listeners who have an upcoming colonoscopy: remember to keep the drink as cool or cold as possible.
Good tip.
Now, here's why that works. Like you've seen those like beer commercials where they're like, if it's cold, the mountains on the can turn blue.
Yeah.
It's like so dumb, right? It's like the one thing that we, the consumer, have control over is the temperature of which we keep our drinks, right?
Right.
They know that their beer tastes so bad that if you can keep it cold, if they can incentivize you to make it colder, it'll be more palatable.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the nasty stuff you have to drink for a colonoscopy. Keep it cold.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
Yeah. And wet wipes.
Because it's alarming. I thought about this recently. It's alarming how quickly my first colonoscopy is going to be coming up.
Like it's soaring around the corner.
I'm trying to talk myself into it being a positive experience.
It is. Oh, the hardest part's the prep.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all downhill.
Yeah.
Almost literally from there. It's gonna be real easy.
All right, real quick. Let's do. I want to know where the pit factors into like your top medical shows that you've seen.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
So I don't watch a lot of medical shows.
Yeah. For
two reasons. One, either I'm trying to get away from that and I want something different and I want, you're the only, this is the truth. You're the only medical podcast I listen to. Like, I just don't listen to a lot of medical podcasts.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You listened for Lady Glockenflecken, though, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, you guys are an amazing combo, so that's why I love it. But so that's one of the reasons. But then the other reason is if I do watch it and it's nonsense, then I get mad.
Yeah,
It annoys me. So most of what I like, it's not for the medicine itself. Pitt makes it on there for being medically accurate, for for most part, with the small nitpicks that we have, and it understands the medical crisis that our healthcare workers are under, and it brings that to light, and it does an amazing job of that. And Noah Wiley's great, so I've been very happy with that show. So that's on the list. It won't be number one for me though.
Okay.
Number one. Should I say number one for last?
Go 5-1.
Okay. So number 5 is a tie between Saint Elsewhere and Doogie Howser.
That's a little bit before my time. So
Saint Elsewhere was definitely before my time.
Yeah.
But I saw reruns of it, and it was medically included or medically sort of related. And I watched a couple episodes. Didn't watch a lot. Watched a couple episodes. Thought it was like entertaining writing, good actors. I could already tell. So, but I didn't watch a lot of it. So Doogie Howser, I did watch a little bit more of. Medically speaking, not incredibly accurate, but it's a fun story. It's like, whatever. It's like there's nothing in the rule book that says a golden retriever can't play basketball. It's like fun in that regards, It's
What were
silly.
you doing when you were 12? Were you going to medical school? Probably not.
No, much less.
Wasn't he like he was like 12 years old then? Right?
So he was like he
16?
couldn't drive. I remember he couldn't drive at the time.
That's right. All right, what's next?
So then number 4 is one that I think might surprise you, and it's Nip Tuck.
Oh, that was on my list.
Yeah, is it right?
Yeah,
'cause it's like, it was over the top.
Soapy,
it was silly, ridiculous. Right, you know what I'm saying? It's like it was nuts and stupid, and like there was no part of me that was like, this is not medically accurate, because I'm like, they're not even trying. It's like absurd.
That's a show I don't think I would watch now if it came up, because that was like one of the first medical shows I ever watched. So I wasn't as in tune to like what a medical show should be, and so it just seemed so. It was on cable, so it was it was like it was blood and guts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
so
it was like sexy.
Yeah.
Jump the shark every other episode. Some crazy. There was
nuts.
Like weird,
absolutely nuts
storylines that like Okay, so then for me, third would be MASH.
Okay.
And just because it was on constantly,
Classic.
like I remember that being on the TV all the time. Reruns were always playing. It was funny. It was the first time that like, it's funny because it's so different from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The movie was good, but the show was very different. But it kind of like showed doctors as like fun, a little bit counterculture, kind of a little punk rock. They were like, they're out there helping people, helping both sides, not trying to be cops about it. They were like trying to just do what's right, what their Hippocratic oath told them to do. And it was for the large part funny. It was weird having a laugh track. It was kind of bothered me. I'm like, why is there an audience laughing in the middle of like Korea? It didn't make any sense.
That's a good point.
But that song, do you know what the lyrics of that song are? Da-na-na-na. The lyrics are, suicide is painless. It brings on many changes. I'm not making that up. People can Google it and they can hear that. Yeah. Anyways, so
you have so much random knowledge. This is
too
great.
much. One may argue too much.
What's number 2?
So number 2 is The Pit.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where it falls in for me. And number 1, I think you can guess, right?
Scrubs. ER.
Scrubs.
So,
no,
Scrubs?
ER doesn't make the list.
ER doesn't make your list? Scrubs.
I didn't even watch it. I couldn't watch it. I wasn't that into it. Scrubs, number 1. It gets the pathos of training so down. And it's like, it was fun to watch. It's fun even if you're not in medicine, because of the humor and the banter and the friendships. And it felt so real at the same time. I really enjoyed that.
Here's my 5. I'll just go through them real quick. So Nip Tuck 5. House 4. I loved House. It's the most ridiculous show in the world, but I just absolutely love it. Pitts 3 for me. ER 2. Scrubs 1. And honorable mention to the scene in the TV show One Tree Hill, season 6, episode 18. It was called Searching for Home, where a dog eats a human heart transplant that was intended for one of the main characters.
I've seen that in clips. I've seen that in Instagram. Can I add an honorable mention?
Sure.
The show Lost. I think they did a pretty good job with their medical stuff in the show.
Oh,
Not just because one of the main characters was a
that.
surgeon, but there would be like, there's a point where someone gets injured and he didn't know it was a crush injury, and that changed the way he treated the patient. And because of that, like the
Yeah, it
patient
did
ended up
have
dying, and he ended up being really mad when Boone died. Anyways, that
I forgot.
I thought they did
that he
a
was
good job.
doctor.
And actually, in the back, there's a scene with Ben from the others,
Yeah.
and in the back, I noticed in his like wall of books was the Marino ICU book, that blue ICU book.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite books of all time. And I love that book. And I was like, that's dope. Somebody knows what they're doing on this show.
Well, I think we both have. Those were some great shows. At the Pit, guys, check out the Pit. If you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. The whole thing, it's wild show. And I hope they do the night shift. I think it'd be fun to see the night shift.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it, Kaveh. You did great. It's almost as if you have your own podcast. I don't know.
I'll never be. I am basically if you ordered Glockenfleckens off of Temu, you would get me. That's kind of what you're gonna get. It's sort of, you'll like recognize it.
Yeah,
it doesn't work quite as well, but that's if you like it, then you might enjoy our podcast, The House of Pod.
Well, you definitely check that out, The House of Pod. I've been on there a couple times, and I hope you invite me back sometime soon.
Oh man,
we got to talk
love to
about
have you on. You're obviously one of my favorites.
Every time we talk about medical shows and movies, it's fun. Doing that.
Oh, I love it. We're going to keep doing that with Michael Weber. I think that's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to Kaveh Hoda for filling in for Lady Glockenflecken today. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Did you like the Sphincter Draft? Are there any other drafts we can have for human body parts? I'd love to hear what you think. Email us, knockknocki@human-content.com. Visit us on our social media platforms. You can hang out with us in the Human Content Podcast family on Instagram or on TikTok at Human Content Pods. Thanks to all the listeners leaving feedback and reviews. By the way, go check out this podcast on our YouTube channel at Glockenfleckens. Leave a comment. We can give you a shout out, like at Latent Discourse 4357 on YouTube said, "How did the emergency physician already know Milo is a little blind? Maybe he should have seen an ophthalmologist." That's right. Milo is getting, I feel like he's getting worse eyesight maybe he's just slowing down because he's getting a little bit older. I don't know. Maybe I should learn some dog ophthalmology or find a dog ophthalmologist. They seem like they'd be hard to come by. But anyway, thanks for the comment. Also, full video episodes are up every week again on our YouTube channel at Glockenfleckens. We also have a Patreon, lots of cool perks, bonus episodes, react to medical shows and movies, hang out with other members of the Knock Knock High community, early ad-free episode access, interactive Q&A, live stream events, much more. Patreon.com/Glockenflecken or go to Glockenflecken.com. Patreon community perk time. Shout out to the Jonathans as usual. Patrick, Lucia C, Edward K, Marion W, Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C, Brianna L, MP Cole, Mary H, Keith G, Parker, Muhammad L, David H, Kaylee A, Gabe, Gary M, Eric B, Marlene S, Scott M, Kelsey M, Dr. Hoover, Sean Marion, Hawkeye MD, Bubbly Salt, and Shawnee D. Patreon roulette. Random shout, someone on the emergency medicine tier. Ashley K, thanks for being a patron, and thank you all for listening. We are your hosts, or I guess I am your host, Will Flannery, also known as Dr. Glockenflecken. Lady Glockenflecken is going to be back next week, I promise. Our executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Flannery, Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brick. Editor, engineer, assistant producer. Our music is by Omer Ben-Zvi. To learn about Knock Knock High's program, disclaimer, ethics, policy, submission, verification, licensing terms, HIPAA release terms, you can go to Glockenflecken.com or reach out to us, knockknocki@human-content.com with questions, concerns, or fun medical puns. Knock Knock High is a human content production.
Knock, knock, goodbye.
Hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
Am I a good multitasker?
Sure.
I don't believe you.
Oh.
That was not very convincing.
No?
That's okay. I fully admit I'm not the best at it. And the problem is physicians have to do a lot of multitasking.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Like I'm sitting there, I talk to the patient, I hear all the things, synthesize all the information, come up with a diagnosis, sometimes order medications, and then maybe that has an interaction with a different medication. You got to like figure that out. You know what can help though?
What?
Microsoft Dragon Copilot. Yeah, this is great. You don't have to, you can just use Dragon Copilot like in your workflow. You can access information right at the point of care, right there with the patient. And like if I wanted to look up a code, a diagnostic code for the encounter, I can use Dragon Copilot. I can look up drug-drug interactions. There's an endless number of applications that you can use Dragon Copilot for.
That's true. Very true.
I think it's good for you as a patient too.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's streamlined.
It's streamlined,
and you get accurate information more quickly.
Yes, exactly.
So
You're taking the words right out of my mouth.
To learn more about Microsoft Dragon Copilot, visit aka.ms/knock-knock-hi. Again, that's aka.ms/knock-knock-hi. Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Hope you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.